A very good morning. EURUSD has continued to push up higher after taking out the final liquidity low here on the daily time frame, retracing into daily discount, and since then we have seen an overall continuation play of the next potential impulsive phase. Now, good morning guys, my name is Fabio and we're going to dive into EURUSD, the major dollar pairs and of course gold. But to start with EURUSD, what is the main reason why yesterday once again we saw another strong push in towards the highs? Now, as you probably know from earlier videos, I have been looking for further downside on EURUSD if we were to see an order flow shift. The overall 4-hour market structure here on EURUSD was and remains still bearish from the high in towards the overall low here, with this here being our main liquidity point, also known as our bump in the road. Now, when we look for short positions, we follow the overall 4-hour market structure. We want to see liquidity get taken, and then we want to see a so-called order flow shift. However, that order flow shift has never come, as demand here on the 4-hour time frame has remained in control. We can see that continuously the overall sell for the buy here continuously again pushes up EURUSD in towards the upside. And this is also what I have been mentioning in the past few videos. From this current demand zone, we can look for upside continuation. Or once the demand zone finally fills, then we want to see the push down, retest of that monthly open, and then we'll look for a short position. Now, as we can see, the 4-hour demand zone remains in control, and this mainly has to do with the fact that Jerome Powell made some dovish remarks, also known as remarks which focus more on interest rate cuts as opposed to higher interest rates. And as you should know, lower rates are bearish for a currency. Now, the remarks that he more specifically made was about the fact that he wants to implement 40, I'm not sure if it's billion or trillion, I know it's a big difference, but at least something 40, let's for the sake of it say $1 billion bond buying. Now, what happens when you start buying bonds, which is also known as government debt? The demand increases, causing yields to go down. When yields go down, the overall dollar becomes less attractive because your return on that overall, let's say, currency goes down, decreases. Now, this is reason number one. Furthermore, he also said it is a cut versus neutral situation, not a hike. And a hike again means higher interest rates. Cut means lower interest rates, which again is a more dovish remark regarding, let's say, lower interest rates, causing EURUSD to push up higher because the dollar weakened. Now, what's pretty much just simply happening is that the overall daily market structure is continued to being respected and continues to push up higher. If we view previous market structures here on EURUSD and we look at this impulsive phase here, or we look at this impulsive phase here, it becomes very, very clear that every single time we take out liquidity, the next drive in towards the highs on EURUSD starts. It happened not only here, it also happened here. And now again, it has also happened here. So as long as the overall daily market structure, which is from this low and this high over here, continues to hold, longs will always be the best ideal option. Now, as I've mentioned though, the overall order flow internally has continued to push the markets down lower. So as you can see, supply remained in control on a continuous basis and still here remains in control. Now, what I'm waiting for EURUSD to do is break above the high here, then, for example, retest the monthly open, and then from there we can look for longs, as we will then, for example, grab internal liquidity, and from there we can then look for a new upside push. So this is the overall long position that I'm monitoring, just waiting for some more bullishness on EURUSD, the retest, and then we'll look for the next long in towards the highs. Now, that is currently the game plan for EURUSD. I'm still not interested in shorts. The only situation in where a short could now come into play is if this demand zone here fails, we see a strong sell-off for whatever reason, then a retest, and then we'll look for the next drop in towards the downside. Other than that, I would say that longs for now are the only option / main focus point, as we now expect, after we've retraced into discount, taken out daily liquidity, that the next overall impulsive phase here on EURUSD has commenced, and that we should be looking for a new higher high to be formed in the near future, which has been the overall predominant trend here on EURUSD throughout the entire year. Now moving on into the dollar index. The dollar index continues to sell off in towards the downside, and we have reached a main liquidity low, which was this one over here. Now, once again, the only longs that you could be willing to take here on the dollar index are once the order flow shifts because of us taking out this low here. That would mean push up, retest long again. Other than that, follow the immediate momentum in towards the downside, towards that overall free monthly open. As currently the daily supply remains in control, we had a sweep of liquidity on this high, and we've now formed a supply zone here on the buy for the sell. That got retested, pushed the market down lower again, and now we just want to follow the overall order flow further in towards the downside. And there is pretty much nothing else to say. Also here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that the order flow has been holding perfectly, where every single time the buy for the sell here remains in control and remains and continues to push the markets down lower. So for now, we will follow that overall 4-hour order flow further in towards the downside, unless we see a shift happen. So that's dollar index for you. Then moving on into GPUSD. So GPUSD, I've been talking about potential shorts. I still remain with that bias on GPUSD. No need to really overcomplicate this chart. We've had an impulse here in towards the downside, and the same with EURUSD. Once the highest liquidity high here gets taken, the overall drop-off happens. So now once again, we've had an impulsive phase in towards the downside, which went hand in hand with this break of structure here. And now once again, where's the liquidity point? Right over here. So what I'm waiting for on EURUSD is to, or on GPUSD, is to sell that overall high with my stops above the highs, target a new lower low again. Or what I'll wait for is, because at the moment we have taken internal liquidity here, and if you look at the 4-hour time frame, what becomes more clear is that you have a 4-hour impulse in towards the downside here. So we've had 4-hour bearish phases. So here the first one, here the second one, here the third one, and then here we had the fourth one. Now we can expect the next one to happen as internal liquidity here got grabbed. We have swept the overall high here at the top, this one. And what I'm now waiting for is for a push down, retest, push down again, as we could then form an area of supply here. And that is then the first short that I'll be willing to take and to look for. So monitoring a potential GPUSD shorts if we get that trend shift, as the 4-hour and the daily remain bearish, and we are now in a premium obviously here on the 4-hour time frame. So monitoring those potential short positions and waiting to see if this will happen. Personally not looking for longs. If I would be looking for longs, it would only be on EURUSD, not GPUSD. Moving on into AUDUSD, we can see that AU continues to push up higher yesterday. This morning, it's come back down to sweep all of the equal lows that we have situated here. And from here, obviously, we can expect markets to continue to drive further in towards the highs. We are bullish on AUDUSD, and we are looking for further upside following the overall immediate daily trend. I've been mentioning now for quite a while now that I've been looking for that further upside continuation, and any potential pullback play provides us with another opportunity to look for further upside continuations. It seems that AUDUSD finally has found its momentum back, where we had the impulsive phase in towards the highs. We took at the final low here, very similar to EURUSD, and then here finally the next impulsive phase has started again. So looking for further upside on AUDUSD, going into entity USD, pretty much the same story. Broken above the 3-monthly open, retested it, and now heading up higher again. Looking still for this to continue a lot higher. Obviously, it would be nice to see a deeper retracement, but with a pair like entity USD, it doesn't really always happen. Though I must say that current levels are pretty hard to scale into. Overall, I would say that this here is the impulse in towards the highs on the 1-hour time frame. And what you're then looking for is obviously a liquidity sweep of this low here. Currently, we're reacting to the 3-monthly open. You've seen a 1-hour change of character here. Could it head up higher from here? Yes, but for me, I need to see liquidation happen. So that would mean take out these lows here, and then only could I look for further long positions. So looking for a further long on NZUSD, but just need a little bit more liquidity Going into the dollar pairs, we have USD JPY, which has retraced in towards the downside once again. USD JPY remains bullish, and it's a different pair than those NZD USD or AD USD pairs where we're looking for longs. And you might be wondering, but Fabio, if you're bearish on the dollar, how can you look for a long on USD JPY? Well, that's because one, the market structure is extremely different here on USD JPY, and two, UJ doesn't get driven by necessarily dollar fundamentals, but more about the interest rate differential with the Japanese yen. And as long as that interest rate differential remains large, UJ should continue to push up higher. So what we've now seen is UJ, after finally taking out the final liquidity point here, retracing into discount pricing, and seeing 4-hour fractal breaks in towards the upside take place here and here, we can expect the market to head up higher. Internally here, again, we've retraced to the 0.5 fib exactly, and I'll be looking for further upside here on USD JPY once again. What we've seen this morning is a 1-hour fractal structure shift happen. It's a very weak one though. I would have preferred it to see a little bit stronger. So I'll be waiting for another break in towards the upside. Once that break takes place, I'll be looking for further upside. Then moving into USD CAD, we can see that USD CAD in itself here has again continued to sell off yesterday with the weak overall dollar. This pair, for me at least, is not extremely interesting, though all I'm looking for obviously is for these equal lows here to get taken out. So in the immediate to short term, I'm still expecting further downside. Going into USD CHF, we can see that USD CHF in itself again pushed in towards the lows, following what? Following the overall premium versus discount slash range trading tool. So for when the market is ranging, I use this range trading tool where we sell from the 75% fib, buy from the 25% fib. Now it looks good to continue down lower towards these equal lows here. So I'll be looking for some short-term further downside on USD CHF. Overall market structure-wise, very unclear pair. But all I'm potentially saying myself is that I'm still looking for that equal lows to be taken here. And the overall news of yesterday could accelerate that move down lower for USD CHF. And then finally, we have, of course, gold. Gold in itself, bullish news yesterday for it. As I've been mentioning for a while now, I've been looking for gold longs and continuations on it. Market structure-wise, breakdown, then we had a break in towards the upside, and then we had another break here in towards the upside. Overall market structure-wise, this here is your swing in towards the highs, and the only thing I don't like about gold is that it's leaving behind a lot of liquidity. Here. So that's the only thing I don't like. The only case to be made for longs is that you swept this little internal low here, and you've now seen a clear market structure shift internally. It's rejecting now the monthly open, and you have somewhat of a demand zone. So definitely we could look for and expect further upside. Not the ideal setup, but I do like the fact that we've come back down to take out internal liquidity here. So I'll be looking for further upside continuations. And if it does retrace down lower again, I will be looking for more longs on gold once again. Okay, so yeah, either we can head up higher from here, or if we don't get that push up, then I'll just reevaluate and look for some new longs from, let's say, these lows here. Once we get, again, a 4-hour change of character on those liquidity points. But for me, the bias remains clear for gold. Still, further upside is expected. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day. We're going to go live here on YouTube at 2:30 Central Eastern Time. So I'll see you there.